So this is week 4 in Zimbabwe, week 3 in my host home. You'll have to forgive the hair, it's wet. I just had a bath, or rather I just had a bucket with warm water, as of course that's how you bath here. So it was a lovely bucket of warm water, and I managed to shave as well. So I'm definitely getting better, that is for sure. I've had to write down notes for what's happened this week because it's been crazy mad. It's been so busy. This is the first day I've had off. But as you can see, I'm feeling a lot more positive and I'm having a lot better time, and I'm started to settle in, starting to feel more relaxed here. So hopefully things are going to be on the up and up. So the last time I recorded was last Saturday. So since then I've been to church. As per normal, everything here is an experience. So church was, how do I start? Very different to what I'm used to. I've been in occasional church services back home in England, just for family reasons or christenings, or I went with my grandparents, that kind of thing. So you've got your sit down sermons, your prayers. It's very, very calm, very, formal. I was in church on Sunday for 4 hours 45 minutes, and it was probably the opposite of what I'd seen before. They had a very passionate pastor yelling into his microphone, preaching the sermon for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, and then after that the rest was praying, but not how I've seen people pray before. In the UK, some people might just sit with their eyes closed, some people might kneel, but here they are a kind of all-encompassing prayers. So people will be standing up, people will be rocking, people are often crying hysterically. The female pastor this time is saying kind of the overall prayer through the speakerphone, and then every individual person is then on top of that, kind of speaking their own prayer, and maybe with their eyes closed, as I said, rocking, or with their arms raised, yelling at the ceiling, and there's lots of tears, lots of emotion, and I've never been in such an emotionally charged environment. And then, later on, those that wanted to be blessed by the pastor, would go up to the front. It's probably about half the congregation, and where they would be blessed. And then from what they refer to as the power of Christ, they often collapsed. I've never seen anything like it. My first instinct when I'd heard about it was, okay, maybe even I thought, is it faked? Did they kind of collapse? But seeing it, there's no way it's fake. These people just drop to the floor. There's designated catchers. So after the pastor was blessed, mainly the women that I see collapsing. The two women with her would then kind of catch the person and lower them safely to the floor. So they obviously didn't hurt themselves while kind of embracing, their power of Christ. And I've seen, some women go up, holding their baby, and they're so encapsulated by it all. They're so overwhelmed by this power of Christ. They basically drop their child. So the two women obviously step in, and they'll take the baby and then lower them to the floor. But it's not a mother's instinct to drop her child, and so again it kind of shows that whatever it is they're experiencing, it's not fake. They're genuinely overwhelmed, whether it be from the power of Christ or some people say, you know, it's just the effect of mass hysteria, because there are 200 people in the congregation plus. You know, everyone's screaming and crying and collapsing. It does have an emotional effect on you. I mean, I was stood there, you know, and I had tears rolling down my face. Not because I was sad, not because I was happy, just because emotionally it was just so powerful that I couldn't help but be. It's just the hardest thing to explain, and I'm sure it doesn't come across very well, but honestly, the power and the emotion is just, I'm sure I'll never experience anything like it again. And, you know, I don't know if I believe or not, I've never really known. But I couldn't help coming out there thinking, well, okay, now I understand it. Now I understand it when someone says that, you know, when they believe in a higher power, and they believe it with all of their heart. You know, this isn't wishy-washy, you go to church on Sunday, you know, and maybe at Christmas, or just at Easter. This is hardcore, something that keeps them alive, faith. You know, they pour their heart and their soul into their prayer and into their God. And it makes you think, could this many people be wrong? Could this many people be caught up in just an effect or an idea? Or maybe, am I too cynical? Or maybe, am I letting logic and reasoning rule my heart? I honestly don't know. But it really does make you think and question your own life and your own views. Seeing that level of belief and that level of faith, you know. And it's like when I talked to my mum, she said, maybe it's because they haven't got anything else to live for in life. Maybe that's all they have. And you take that away and they've got nothing. So the next time someone tells me that they believe, they truly believe, I get it. Now I get it. I thought I did before, but now having seen it and experienced the power and just the raw emotion, I think I better understand what people mean by faith, true faith. So that was an experience on Sunday for 4.5 hours, as I said. And then I started school sessions this week. So I've been in several colleges mainly. And we've been teaching our sessions and doing what we do, and we've been focusing on, because this week's last week is International Women's Week, and International Women's Day was on Wednesday the 8th of March, so most of our lessons have been focused on International Women's Day. We've done the odd bit here and there on sexual abuse and drugs and alcohol, but mainly we've been focusing on Women's Day this week. And yeah, it's been good to teach older kids. I've taught younger kids before, primary school, but these kids are, well, some of them aren't kids, some of them are adults. So the idea is that it's secondary school and colleges. So some of them are quite old, some of them are 18, 19. I think one's 23. You know, so that one's older than me. So it's interesting and exciting to teach new people at maybe a higher level of you know, intellect. They're more developed than primary school. However, it does bring its own challenges, as teenagers do. And I remember one session this week with grade 3 and 4, so probably about, I think they're older than 15, I think they're around 15, 16. They were somewhat rowdy, very excitable. I mean, we had 50 plus of them in the room, and it was quite a small room, so that probably didn't help matters. But it's a completely different experience, so I'm enjoying it. And yeah, managing to pass on some really important knowledge and some really important kind of issues and discuss them and raise them, you know, makes me feel like I'm having more of a direct impact, which is good. So yeah, we did International Women's Day, which is in another country for me, so here in Zimbabwe, and it's interesting to watch and experience the gender roles here in Zimbabwe. They are different to the UK, it's safe to say. And we did sessions on them with some of the kids, and some of the girls are great, and they're really intelligent, and they're really driven, and you know, it's empowering them. And then, as per usual, we got to our last class. So they're the oldest, the GCSE students, and they like to discuss. They're a bit more. Some of the boys are a bit more cocksure of themselves. You know, they're not afraid to kind of challenge us and tell us what they think, which is good. But we were discussing gender roles within Zimbabwe, just having a general discussion, and you know, they stated that they would not want to marry an educated woman, because that would mean the woman would no longer be inferior, and that's where the women should be in the marriage, which obviously goes completely contrary to all of my beliefs. And as I was in a teacher role, you know, I was very, okay, that's your opinion, maybe next time we see you can bring some reasons why you believe that, not just tradition and how you've been brought up. Obviously, if it had been a different situation and I'd been a part of the class, then I might have given them a bit more of a what for and engaged a little bit more, but you can't do that as a teacher, but that's fine. But yeah, so that was a very obvious product of the society they live in. You know, it's not necessarily the boys' fault. That's how they've been raised. That's how society here is telling them it should be. Women very much have the domestic role, staying at home, cooking, cleaning, looking after the kids, and the father goes out and works. Is the dominant part of the household. It's a very patriarchal society, and so witnessing that kind of in the classroom as well, and their opinions, it was very interesting. One of the girls next to him is a very driven woman and takes no nonsense at all, you know, gave him a what for. So that made me feel quite good, that made me smile. She wasn't going to be put down, you know, by a boy telling her that she is inferior, that she should be inferior and always will be inferior. She was like, no, you know, I'm not accepting that. I've got my own aims, my own dreams, and I'm going to get there, you know, and you're not going to stop me. I'm lucky in my host home. It's not really an issue. I mean, there might be like an undercurrent. You know, we do cook, and us women, and especially Georgina, you know, she cleans, and but my host father is amazing, and we've had some really, really intellectual conversations, and he's really great, and he's really lovely to me. We were watching something on the TV the other day, and we were talking about the programme, which was on the troubles of Northern Ireland, you know, and the history of obviously the issues that have arisen in Northern Ireland due to religion, which is just fantastic. So he's really, really switched on, really smart, wants to know about other countries, how we live in Britain, that kind of thing. So, hey. And so that was really good. And then, yeah, so even though I'm not experiencing it domestically where I'm living, you know, but I do still see it on a daily basis. Whereas Bethan, so she's an international that I'm working with, she's staying in Mafakose, and but she experiences it more at home with her host father. Her host father won't make direct eye contact with her when they are talking to each other, and whereas when Liam, who's part of her Mafakose team, who, as you can tell by the name, is a male, talks to him, he'll give him full eye contact, you know, full respect, looking, you know, dead at him. Whereas with Bethan, there's no eye contact. And Bethan's very similar to me, so she has been struggling with that. She has admitted that she's had to bite her tongue on a couple of occasions. She brought up International Women's Day at their dinner table, which was brave because they don't normally speak at dinner. And, you know, she'd asked her counterpart, you know, what does International Women's Day mean for you? You know, really excited, and, you know, her counterpart was like, nothing. It doesn't mean anything to me. At which point the host father said, well, it won't mean anything to her because she's not a woman. So understandably, Bethan was very confused. Like, what do you mean she's not a woman? When does someone become a woman? And he said, when a woman gets married, when a girl gets married and has intercourse for the first time, that's technically when she becomes a woman. At which Bethan responded very confidently, I am a woman. I've decided that I'm a woman. It's how I feel inside, and it's kind of made it clear that actually this is what I believe. So yeah, it's very interesting just witnessing it kind of around. Abortion here is illegal as well, as is homosexuality. So it's very interesting to witness gender roles here. The dowry system, for example, is still in place here in Zimbabwe. In the cities, it's more likely to be money dowries. I've been told in the past that when you're in the country, your dowry may be cows. So if you are a really fabulous woman that's really sought after, your father will be given 30 cows for your hand in marriage. Which, yeah, people have different views on dowries and their effect on women. So yeah, just more interesting experiences and challenging myself and my beliefs. And whereas some, like church on Sunday, make me question and think about what really my beliefs are. International Women's Day, on the other hand, cemented my beliefs, and I know exactly what I think about men and women and being equal, and I'm never going to change that. I think we are equal. I think International Women's Day, it's a fabulous day to celebrate inspiring and strong women all around the world, and highlighting our fight for equality and, the steps we are taking to get there, because we're not there yet. And so being in a country with such a strong patriarchal society, it's just been, it's been interesting to say the least. Unfortunately, this week has also been marred by some quite sad moments. We've had 2 women die this week on our street. We had one die over the road. She was probably in her mid-20s, and she passed away from AIDS-related illnesses. And then the next day, we found out that a woman my age, so about 21, 22, 2 doors up, had also passed from AIDS-related illnesses. And that was tough to take. It just brought the issues that we're dealing with to the surface a lot more clearer. They kind of, you couldn't avoid it. It wasn't just a theory anymore. It was, bang, straight in front of your face. Process here with funerals is that they take the body and they display it in the house. And then the evening of the passing of the person, they celebrate in the style that woman would have lived her life. So for the woman over the road, she was a sex worker. So she worked obviously at night in some high risk situations, and so their celebration was very loud, way into the early hours of the morning. Quite a lot of alcohol, quite a lot of partying. There were people on cars at one point, kind of banging up and down, banging all the gates, and there would have been, sexual activity in the street to celebrate, her life and how she lived it. So that was an experience very different again from funerals in the UK, which is normally a very sombre affair, very formal affair. So it's just interesting to experience things like that for the first time. But again, the fact that they had passed is very sad, and really brings the issue home. You can't hide it when you're here, and people aren't surprised. That's what got me. Because they knew instantly, you know, if someone that young passes, they know, you know, with high probability, they already know what it is. They don't need to ask the question, you know, why did they pass? They know. They already know. So that's tough to deal with. It makes you think if, you know, all this education is really making a difference, because these girls are young. It's not like they're the older generation who are stuck in their ways. They're young girls. But I guess when it comes to that, it would be easy to give up and walk away and say, okay, we can't make a difference. There's no point in us being here. There's no point in me being on the street, because obviously the past volunteers haven't made a difference, or the ideas just don't align with how they live their lives. But, you know, I like to think that it's not going to be an easy road to walk and to pass through. You know, it's the same that I experienced in South Africa. It's a big problem. It's a big problem, and it's not going to go away overnight. But just because it's a big problem doesn't mean we shouldn't try to fight it. We shouldn't try to intervene and make the situation better. You know, you could give up and walk away, or you could stay and you can fight. You know, and you can believe in yourself and believe that ultimately people do want things to change, and they do want a better life. And so that again, after a full day of sessions and teaching about women's rights, you know, to come home and find out these young girls and these young women have passed, it's tough. Your brain never switches off. There's always something new for you to process.